Fiber connectors and couplers. Uh, when you take an optical fiber, it is not say 100 kilometers or 200 kilometers. It is like the length of the fiber optic system. It will be in terms of thousands of kilometers. Say for example, 1,000 kilometer, 2,000. It may go up to 5,000 or even 6,000 kilometer optical links are uh, available even today. uh, in that sense, you cannot have a entire optical link with a single optical fiber without any uh, connectors in between. That means to say you cannot physically fabricate an optical fiber of say thousands of kilometers in a continuous fashion. So that means to say that in between we require some connectors, because uh, currently available fabrication techniques, it can fabricate say up to a length of 200 to 300 kilometer maximum. Beyond that, the process has to start again. So in that case, if you want to establish a connection between the two ends of the fibers, we have to go for either connectors or one more technique, what we call it as splicing. Okay. Can just go with the introduction. Later on, we will discuss about what is the connector and what is splicing. So, any optical fiber link, it requires joining and termination for a transmission of a transmission medium. Okay. So, the number of intermediate fiber connectors or joints, it is dependent upon the link length. Say, for example, if you are establishing a 2,000 kilometer link length, and the number of connectors and the joints that are required for this 2,000 kilometer link is different from what we take the number of connectors and joints for say 5,000 kilometer link. So the number of connectors or joints, it depends on the length that we are going to establish. A continuous length of the fiber cable, that is the second one. The first thing is the length of the fiber. The number of fiber connectors or joints, it is dependent on the first thing, that is length of the fiber. Then continuous length of the fiber cable, which can be fabricated practically, and it is conveniently available so that it can be installed as a continuous section in the link. Okay, so these are some of the conditions which decides the number of connectors or the splicing or the joints that are required in a optical link. Okay, so you can see one example what it's mentioned here. With a highly matured fabrication technique, one can have a single mode fiber length of say around 200 kilometer. Okay, so not beyond that. A single fiber can be fabricated, say for example 200 kilometer. If you want to establish more length, you need to go for connections in between. That is what the concept of the fiber connectors and joints that we are going to discuss in today's session, right? And you can see some of the example fiber optic links that are currently working. I think we have discussed this fiber optic systems like CMEWA, that is Southeast Asia, Middle East, and Western Europe. That is one fiber optic network which establishes a connection between Germany and Singapore. Other example what we took and which we already discussed is a transatlantic optical fiber system, which spans over a distance of 6,000 kilometer. And for the entire 6,000 kilometer, they have adopted 120 optical repeaters. Optical repeaters are nothing but which will restore this strength of the signal in between. Say for example, for every 50 kilometer spacing, they are going to place one optical repeater so that the signal strength is maintained throughout the 6,000 kilometer distance. Okay, and this system is going to carry 32 independent channels. So these are some of the example optic fiber system wherein which they have used optical connectors, and in between they are going to use say repeaters for every 50 kilometer. So two major categories of fiber joints that are currently used are fiber splicing. As I was mentioning, fiber splicing is a semi-permanent or permanent joint which find major use in most of the optic fiber communication system. So fiber splicing is almost a permanent joint that one can establish between the two ends of the fibers. That is what we call it as splicing. And later on, we will come to know what are the different techniques that are being used to establish this fiber splicing. The second option is demountable fiber connectors or simple connectors. So these demountable fiber connectors or simple connectors are nothing but they are removable joints which allow easy, fast and manual coupling and uncoupling of the fibers. So many times it is required that you need to establish the connection between the two ends of the fibers for some time duration temporarily, and then you have to disconnect it. So in that case we go for a removable joints, that what we call it as connectors. So this is the major difference between a splicing and a connector. Splicing is almost a semi-permanent or a permanent joint, whereas a connector it is a removable joint, or it is also called as temporary joints, which allows easy and fast manual coupling and uncoupling of the fibers, which is analogous to say electrical plugs and sockets. So you can just have a comparison between this connector. It is analogous to that of electrical plugs and sockets. And the last part of this discussion, we will have a concept of fiber couplers. Fiber couplers are nothing but they are branching devices. Um, these devices are going to split the incoming light into multiple branch fibers. So they are going to split the incoming signal from a single fiber or from the main fiber into the branch fibers, or vice versa. It can also work in the opposite direction, that is combine the signals coming from branch fibers into a single main fiber. So that is the function of fiber coupler. And last part of this topic, we will be discussing about fiber couplers. uh, to begin with, fiber alignment and joint loss. Before we start discussing about the different types of fiber connections like splicing, connector, and fiber couplers, we need to have some understanding about how do we have this alignment between the two ends of the fibers, which is most important, without which there exists more amount of losses because of reflection at the end phases of the fibers. Okay, so that's about the concept of fiber alignment and joint loss. So say if you take two ends of the fibers, or two fiber ends are being joined, though they are smooth and perpendicular faces with fiber to fiber axis which are perfectly aligned, even then there is small amount of light that may be reflected back into the transmitting fiber, causing the attenuation at the joint. Okay, so this concept of fiber alignment and joint loss, you can just refer to this diagram. You can see we have two fibers, fiber 1 and fiber 2. Fiber 1 is the transmitting fiber, fiber 2 is the receiving fiber, and the two ends of the fibers are almost joined together. Okay, so this is like a zoomed view which I've considered here. uh, you can see, though the ends of the fibers are flat, they are smooth and perpendicular, there is some amount of small air gap that is being placed, though they are joined permanently. Okay, so or in case if you are joining them temporarily using connectors, there exists some amount of small air gap. Okay, so this air gap, it results in reflection towards the transmitting fiber, that is fiber 1. So you can see we have two ends. One is the fiber 1, that is transmitting fiber. Fiber 2 is the receiving fiber. So if both fiber 1 and 2 are joined, and because of that small air gap, there exists a reflection towards the transmitting fiber. So this red color reflections are related to the reflection at the fiber 1 end phase, and the blue color ones are the reflections due to fiber 2 end phase. So both the end phases are going to result some amount of reflection, and this reflection results in a type of loss. Okay, and the small amount of light, as I told, it will be reflected back into the transmitting fiber, causing attenuation. So if there is some amount of loss, and loss is always related to the concept of attenuation. Okay, So this phenomenon of the end faces of the fibers which are producing some small amount of reflection is known as Fresnel reflection, and it is associated with the step change in the refractive index at the joint interfaces. Okay. So because there is a sudden change in the refractive index from fiber 1 to fiber 2, though they are placed in close physical contact, there will be some amount of step change in the refractive index, because of which these reflections are going to cause attenuation or loss in the fiber end faces. Okay, so that is like glass is glass, air, and glass. This is how the diagram is being represented here. So this fiber 1 is a glass, fiber 2 is also a glass. In between we have a small air gap, that is air. The Fresnel reflection, I mean the magnitude of the Fresnel reflection is represented through an expression called as R. R is the nothing but the fraction of light that is reflected at the single interface. You can see we have the expression related to Fresnel reflection here. Uh, n1 minus n divided by n1 plus n whole square, where n1 is the refractive index of the core, n is the refractive index of the medium between the jointed fibers. I mean to say, in this diagram, the medium in which the two ends of the fibers are being jointed is air, so the n will be refractive index of air in this case. Okay, so n1 is refractive index of core, n is the refractive index of the medium between the two jointed fibers. So the Fresnel reflection at both the fiber interface must be taken into account in order to determine the total amount of light that is reflected at the fiber joint, because this expression of R is equal to n1 minus n by n1 plus n square. It is going to give us the fraction of light that is reflected at the single interface. But here in this diagram, we have two interfaces or two end faces. One is with respect to fiber 1, other one is with respect to fiber 2. So we need to apply the Fresnel reflection formula for both first fiber end phase and the second fiber end phase, which will give us the total uh, loss due to reflection at the fiber joint. So the total loss due to fiber Fresnel reflection at single interface, this is not total, the Fresnel reflection loss due to Fresnel reflection at the single interface is given by this expression. L loss Fresnel loss is equal to minus 10 log to the base 10 of 1 minus R, where R is the fraction of light that is being reflected at the single interface. So how do we reduce this Fresnel reflection that is caused at the end faces when we start establishing the jointed V at the two ends of the fibers? So Fresnel reflection can be reduced at the fiber to fiber connection by using an index matching fluid in place of the air gap that is being present in between the fiber joint or the fiber end faces. Okay, so let me again go back to this diagram. So if we can place an index matching fluid so that there is no sudden change in the refractive index at the joint interface. So instead of this air gap, if I can place an index matching fluid, so this is my index matching fluid. Instead of having a small air gap between the two end faces, if I can have the index matching fluid, which matches the refractive index of both the fiber end faces, so that the loss or the reflection due to Fresnel uh, at the two end faces can be reduced to certain extent, because of that sudden change in the refractive index at the end faces, the reflection was occurring. So if you can fill that air gap of whatever we have small air gap with the index matching fluid, it balances the refractive index at both the end faces of the two fibers. Okay, and whatever the loss due to Fresnel reflection that we discussed, it's only a fractional amount of loss that is being occurring in the fiber uh, end faces when we are going to establish the connection between the two end faces. But a potentially greater source of loss at the fiber to fiber connection is being caused by the misalignment of the two fiber of the two jointed fibers. So a greater source of loss when you're starting to establish the connection between the two ends of the fibers are related to misalignment of the two jointed fibers. Misalignment in the sense the fiber to fiber core axes should be perfectly aligned. That is the concept in which the fiber connection or splicing is being established. If the two ends of the fiber axes are not perfectly aligned, then it results in potentially greater loss compared to Fresnel reflection loss at the two end faces. So what we call it as a mechanical misalignment. So we have three fundamental types of mechanical misalignments. Uh, as it is mentioned in the diagram, you can just refer the diagram. So if these are the two end faces, if there is a big space between the two ends of the fibers, though we are establishing a connection between the two ends of the fibers, if the spacing between the two ends of the fiber is more than specified, that results in loss, what we call it as loss due to misalignment. So there you can see this is a three-dimensional diagram, and this is a two-dimensional diagram where there is a big spacing between the two ends of the fibers. This is what we call it as longitudinal misalignment. And the second type of misalignment is, you can see here, what we call it as lateral or